Everybody, welcome back into the WSAZ Now studio for the first time in 2026. Haven't put out an episode for a few weeks now. I guess we were enjoying the holiday season, but we're going to try to make it up to you with a pretty electric factory episode. Take a look at the overhead cam here. For the very first time, you're getting all three of us in the building, in the same room, talking on Sports Plus.
The electric company.
Electric factory, electric company, I mean, whatever you want to call it. There's the triple box with all three of us. We've got a lot to talk about: hoops, a little bit of off-season football, some coaching changes, you name it. Gentlemen, how were the holidays? Have a good time?
The funny thing is, this is the first time we've been in the same building since Monday the 21st.
Really? I had
a few days off, and then we took some time off for the holidays, and I finished the year strong on the sports desk, and Keith enjoyed time with his family and little Marin.
Yeah.
And we're back at it.
It is time to go to work.
You spend a lot of time watching football or basketball during the break? A little bit of both, because this is that time of year where you still –
More football than basketball, because there are all the bowl games and the college football playoffs. And watched the FCS championship last night, which was riveting, actually.
It was.
Yes, a heck of a game. And now we get kind of closer into just hoops mode because it's January. So we got some college football playoff games left, but into the Final Four. So it's almost hoops now.
But we do still care about bowl games. I know the rest of the country's saying they're meaningless. We like them on this program.
Do you see the ratings, TV ratings?
I did not, but
they
I
had them out.
well.
They were really, really good.
I know the Pop-Tart
Bowl's
Pop-Tart Bowl
everybody watched that.
Made a huge number, so maybe it is a kind of an important bowl.
Well, as long as you play good football, you have some fun with it. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm old school on that. You get one more chance to play ball with your guys, and I admire the teams and the coaches who are able to get their guys to play. Everybody goes, oh, well, who wants to be here, who doesn't? Hey, listen, you got one more chance to put on the cleats and strap on the helmet.
We'll take whoever we've got.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do, right?
Especially in these days, right?
No doubt. All right, guys, well, let's start here in Huntington with Marshall Hoops. We'll start with the women. As we sit here recording this, and as people sit here and watch this, the women's team will have already played their Wednesday game against ODU. So we're just talking as they enter the week, an 8-game winning streak, 4-0 in Sunbelt play. It's been a long time, from what I understand, since they've started out this well in conference. Playing really good basketball, don't you think?
2011, did I read?
Their best start in a long time, because I can't remember what Coach Kim did with the team. They might have caught fire later on, but they lost one game in conference that year. So during Kim Caldwell's 1 year here, so I think 2 years ago they probably had just as an incredible start as they did with Coach Julie Folks' second year. But they're playing. They're very tenacious. I mean, I was watching the first bit of the game over the weekend when they went down 10-0. I'm like, college basketball, no lead is safe. And all of a sudden, I think at one point I looked, the second quarter they allowed 6 points. In the third quarter, before a bucket or two very late, they almost held them to single digits in the second and third quarters, which is why they kind of started to impose their will on that last win over the weekend when they beat Coastal. That was super impressive.
And you talk about big players making some big plays when you need them. Peyton Ilderton at the end of that game, I mean, you're really just thinking, let's get a stop and take this thing into another overtime, when we called game at that point.
I think I read the ESPN indicator gave them a 98% chance of winning that game. They're down 3 late with 30-some seconds to go, and Coastal's going the foul line. So they obviously missed that free throw. They come down, and Peyton gets an and one, and then comes back down and makes that just magical steal and goes the distance. I was talking to Steve Cotton, Marshall's radio guy yesterday, and he said he ran into her, and he said, "Man, what a finish to that game." She just smiled and said, "It was my Reggie Miller moment." And the fact that she knew who Reggie Miller is pretty impressive. That's a long time ago.
And the moment.
Yeah,
I mean, he scored 9 points in 10
4 seconds.
You didn't hit him with one of these after.
No, I think she just said they mobbed her after the game. We did a little piece with her about it. But she just said it was her instincts kicking in. You got to make a play late. And one thing you kind of notice about this, and Coach Folks has instilled in them, is, if you got a chance late, you're going to win the game. And that's a mindset, not just with Peyton, but with everybody on that team. They've answered all the challenges so far. And the more times you find yourself in that opportunity when you got a chance late and you execute and do it, the more confidence you have the next go-around. So that's been something I've noticed is how the resolve they have in late-game situations.
And it's super important. I think every conference is important, but when you can start out, 4-0, and maybe they hope with 2 home games 6-0, that certainly sets them apart from other teams towards the end of the year, where you don't have to try to make up or get wins late to get a better seed. They're already shooting near the top of the league. At one point, there were 6 teams that hadn't lost a game yet, but it was 1-0, 2-0 records. But now it's, I think, 2 teams are still without a loss. So it's so important to be near the top in early January still.
Arkansas State, the other one, right? From what I understand.
Yep.
And I think they play somewhere around Valentine's Day. They only play them once. Where a lot of these teams, you see them twice in the same season. But Arkansas State right now, it seems to be the other top team in the league. And you'll get them one time. Maybe that'll decide the regular season conference title.
And that's so important. And Peyton talked about that in the piece, because of the new way that they seed those Sun Belt Conference tournament games. Remember last year they had to play 5 straight games and 5 straight nights just to work their way to try to get to the semis. It is imperative that you get a high seed and you don't have to play till later in that tournament, because I don't care how good you are and how good your depth is, you got to play 5-6 nights in a row. That takes its toll. So to get off to that good start and set the tone for your conference season is a pretty big deal for them.
Well, Coach Falks even talked about just how worn out they were in the App State game on Saturday. You were on the road at Coastal, then you play App State on Saturday, and they were worn out, and you could tell when the ball game started. It was 10-0 App State in a heartbeat.
What's crazy good is, if you think about it, if you look back to the latter part of the 2025 season, this time last year, they struggled, and all of a sudden, I think they won 4 or 5 in a row in conference, and then they won 4 out of 5 in the league tournament, and now they're 4-0. I mean, I'm curious to see what their last 13, 14 games are in conference. It might be 12-1, 13-1, because that one loss being in the tournament.
To eke one out at App State on Saturday after the week that they've had. Hang on to win that thing. Sounds like some people were a little banged up in that game. Your usual leading scorers, I think, were a little quiet in the first half, so you have to overcome that. You're rotating all kinds of players in there and needing big minutes out of your bench. That was a pretty impressive win that, maybe just at surface level when someone's looking at the schedule, they think, oh, well, you should probably win that one. That was a tough one to get on the road.
Yeah, to go get 2 in a row in a week, I don't care if it's men, women, whatever conference you're talking about, that's hard. Everybody knows your tendencies. They know what your players do. You're in, on their court, which is always worth 5, 6, 7 points. So to pull off those 2 wins in 1 week that's like a feather in your cap. You're supposed to win your home games and hold serve, and then maybe take 1 or 2 and do that through the season. You're going to have a pretty good record. If you're able to go get 2 in 1 week, that's even bigger for you.
It was a perfect week for the men, too. Really, the girls and boys kind of go in reverse. Boys were at home last week. Girls were on the road. It's the exact opposite this week. So the guys, 2-0 last week with a couple wins in the Sun Belt. They're on the road this week. Let's talk about Jalen Spear, because it sounds like he's just recently named Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week, and for good reason. He had 20-plus in both of those wins. What have you made of the Herd men's team as we enter really the thick of league play here in January?
Just, Corny Jackson's kind of putting the pieces together. It's just like every other coach in America, got a lot of moving parts that haven't played together. So a lot of his players some of them are JUCO, a couple of them are D2. You're getting used to the D1, the drag of D1 hoops and conference play and how hard that is and how hard you have to play to win. Spear was phenomenal last week, 47 points. He was 10 of 15 from 3-point range. He is tied for the lead in the league with 43 3-pointers on the season. But what I noticed most about him is when they need a big bucket late, he delivers it. He hit a huge 3 in that win on Saturday that put him up and kind of sealed the deal. But his ability, willingness, and talent to just hoist one when he knows you got to have it, and you're going, does he shoot? Oh, good shot. It's one of those things where you just go, man, that's from 25, but he's their guy that I think they look to when they have to have a basket. And if he doesn't have it, he facilitates it. And they've gotten a lot of good help. They had foul trouble on the big guys. Van Komen went out with an injury, and Harding got foul trouble, so they had to go kind of smaller. And Fuquay, came to the forefront, as did Hugi, and so they've had some guys that really haven't been main players have to step up a little bit, and that's the key to any team in any conference. Is you got to have some role players who are ready to go when their number's called.
And it's a matter of time before Wyatt Fricks is Player of the Week, because the one home game I was at too on New Year's Eve, it seemed to Spear let him early. I mean, he had 3 threes right off the bat. 3 of the 10 threes he made over the last week, and in the end, it was a team effort, obviously, but Wyatt Fricks had a monster 2-handed dunk right over somebody, hit a big 3 when I think it was tied at 65. A couple games ago at home, it's a big 3 from the top of the key. So, and Corny talked about this in the presser after the last game they played. Wyatt was talking about just finding his role and being a great teammate, and he mentioned being behind Obina for 4 years. And Corny stopped and said, "Did you guys hear that?" He said he sat behind someone for 4 years. Who does that anymore? Didn't complain, was a little frustrated, but now it's his time, and Fricks is certainly playing like it.
Yeah. They give you every reason to go search for greener pastures these days, right? And that the opportunity is available to you. And for a guy like that, like you said, wait his turn, it's becoming a rarity. So it's nice to see a guy wait his turn, and it comes to fruition, all that hard work and patience. When it's your time, you go out there and show who you know you've always been.
And if you're 6'10" and you can hit a key 3 at any point in the game, that certainly makes you dangerous because you're used to these big guys being down low and getting some tough buckets under the basket, near the basket. But he's not shy about popping one from 23.
What I noticed, what he does best, though, because of his athleticism, and when he, we all know he can shoot, and he knows it, but you can't get into the habit of just launching threes. When he takes it up and under, and he's got that athleticism and that length that he has, he can score. And when he does that, he's tough to stop because of his jumping ability and ability to get through tight spaces. He's got a lot of athleticism. So when he couples that with his shooting, that makes him even more formidable. And yeah, you're talking about staying. I mean, now coaches are recruiting players in the handshake line. So,
are we supposed to say that?
I can say it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Hey, call me. It's all fair game now, right? I mean,
like passing a note in class when you shake their hand.
No tampering, right? Agents are calling players during.
Do you like
the
my
season.
school? Check yes or check no.
You know where our campus is. It's. Come on, who are we kidding here, guys? We're allowed to speak the truth.
We're saying all the quiet parts out loud these days because who's enforcing these things?
Yeah, it's wild, wild west. So, I mean, we're seeing it in football. We'll talk a little bit more about the portal here in a few minutes, but it's crazy.
Yeah. You talked about Wyatt Fricks' athleticism. Of course, all these guys are athletes to their own degree if you're playing D1 college basketball. But I was really impressed on Saturday just with their ability in a smaller-ish lineup to still play above the rim against App State. It felt like half their buckets came on a lob up around the rim. Somebody jumps up there, throws it down, or lays it in off the lob. They're not afraid to go to the air with it and play it. Not that it's unorthodox basketball, but playing above the rim, not everybody can do that.
Yeah, and it shows when Coach Jackson has some issues with his bigs, if they're in foul trouble or whatever, you don't have to have the 7-footers in there if you got those guys that can come in and play, and you can go small and push the pace, which is what they like anyway. You have to have a bunch of different ways you can win basketball games, especially in league play, because, like we said, everybody knows your tendencies. So if you can switch it up and win in an unconventional way, those are the best teams that can do it different ways on different nights.
And Noah Ochudi's been a great bonus for Marshall because you see these guys in October, and they all look like obviously they can all play, and they've got a tremendous amount of skills to play D1 basketball. But he's a kid that looks like he's maybe 6'2", 6'3", but he's very John Taft-like. I'm going inside and try to stop me.
Yeah.
And he's had a couple monster dunks throughout the year. He had one that was the exclamation point the other night. I think it was on New Year's Eve.
It was late, yeah.
And that because they cut it to a 2-point game with a crazy 3 soccer. So yeah, they're very. Coach Corny loves their depth, and that's going to help. Can only do anything but help the next 2 months of the year.
Yeah. Well, and you guys have seen it when you go down south to watch the conference tournament games. You have to have depth, especially when you're playing each and every day, depending on your seed. You got to have bodies out there, and the teams that don't, by the end of the week, you start to see it.
As Keith will attest, I mentioned Pensacola probably in October.
Did you?
Maybe
Excited to go back?
Jimmy, I said, Jimmy, we're not even in the basketball season. Right. Let's take it slow.
Well, we are now. So
now we
can
are.
Let him talk
yeah.
about it.
He can do it now.
He can speak the name of Pensacola.
It's
right?
2026, yeah.
What's that place, McGuire's? Is that where you guys like to hang out and eat?
Great Irish place.
Fine Irish pub for
you got to go to
Irish
Tracy
cuisine.
to an Irish place down there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it really is. I do appreciate the coaster you guys got me the last trip.
I picked that out, by the way.
I use it every day.
I know.
It's
I
sitting right on my desk.
I appreciate
you see the little ring of condensation that's formed around my cup there. So let's move to Marshall football. It's always football season in Huntington, whether you love Marshall basketball or not. People are still always kind of paying attention, and college football is a year-round sport these days anyways. The news cycle never stops. So we're talking the offseason, portal stuff, coaching hires. Where do you guys want to start? You want to talk about a couple of these coaches that were recently hired since we last spoke on this program, or you want to go transfer portal?
But I mean, Dean Hood and Chip West are the guys you're speaking to, and West had been here before. So, Coach Gibson, right after the season, said we're going to make some changes, staff-wise, player-wise, and he backed up his talk, which I think is shows that he can check his ego at the door when he hired Brad Lambert as the defensive coordinator. Of course, Brad's been a head coach at Charlotte and was at Marshall 2 other times before, and really well thought of as a defensive coordinator. And in our conversation before Christmas, I said, "You're going to have him run your scheme, the 3-3-5." He said he has full autonomy to run whatever scheme he wants to run. If he wants my advice or anything, I'll tell him, but it's his side of the ball. So I think that's a big sign from Coach that he's wanting to fix what ailed them last year, and he thinks they've got the guy to help him do it with Brad Lambert. The portal, he talked about he was excited about the guys they had kept, and they kept some mainline talent, no question about it. Carlos Del Rio Wilson and a couple of the receivers. Tamarez is coming back, Adrian Norton and those guys, and running back Joshawn Barbie, Javay Gilmore, the rush end, decided that they were going to stay. Now, he ended up thinking some guys were going to stay that ended up leaving, which is part of what this portal's all about. They can look you in the eye and say, "Coach, I'm staying," and then the next day they get a call from an agent and say, "What about this? What about our offer?" And that's all part of the portal and the good and bad of it, and so they're going through it like every other school in the country is.
Hopefully, like over the last couple of years, I think 2 years ago, they had to replace 60 players, and Coach Gibson's
70,
mentioned 70 this year, this past year. So hopefully that number's gone down with some of the guys that are staying. So to get those guys back is a nice shot in the arm as they get to spring ball here in about 2 months.
I saw Coach Rodriguez at West Virginia, 43 players in the portal. So he's got they replaced 65 players last year. Going to have to do similar, not similar numbers, but 43 in the portal's a lot.
Was there a Big 12 team that had 17 players?
It was
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Mm-hmm. After losing Matt Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Your football team. Well, we're just going to have to replace everybody.
And it's not just teams that are playing bowl games or even didn't make bowl games. Now we're talking about the college football playoff with Ole Miss.
Yep.
Losing coaches and some players. You're in the
playoff.
Holy land of college
yet.
football,
Yeah,
and everybody's. What are we doing?
Yeah, I read something. I think it's like almost a fourth or maybe more, like 25% of all FBS college athletes across the board have hit the portal. There's like 3,000 or 4,000. Is it more?
I thought it was.
No, there's 9,000 people.
9,000
people.
Wow,
9,000 people in the portal.
The last number I heard was lower than that, so maybe there's more that have hit the portal since. I mean, every day there's a new announcement from.
Well, here's a prime example I read today. There are 180 quarterbacks in the portal. Now there are only 136 FBS schools.
I'll say, how does that work?
Are you going to get? There'll be 50 some players that aren't going to get the starting job they think they're going to get. That's what you come up with, and I hate to see it for the kids because they're led astray. They're led down this road, and they have a situation where they're on scholarship and they have a role, but you go get some, and some of them are going to be left high and dry, and that's a shame of it. We're not helping the kids at all with this.
It can be a wonderful thing for some athletes. There's no doubt about it. I think you look at, I want to say every single quarterback that's still left in the college football playoff right now is a transfer kid. At one point or another, they were somewhere else. But sometimes those guys are the exceptions, There are a lot more cases where somebody may or may not get left in the shuffle, or you traded the bench at one school for the bench at another.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the best thing for you?
Yeah.
And you don't, up to them.
And you don't know that until you're finished up. Like you look back and you got 5 years to play or whatever, and maybe you played 2 years because you're out chasing jobs or chasing roles on different teams that don't materialize.
Yeah. Of course, it's not to disparage any of these Marshall guys that have hit the portal.
No,
they're all trying to look out for their own best interest. But with that said, were there any that that kind of shocked you? I guess Ja'Kai Long's one that maybe we thought was going to be back in Huntington again.
Yeah, I mean he's been waiting for his chance, and of course Zion Turner decided to stay too. So that's two quarterbacks. Ja'Kai would make 3, and maybe he thinks it's my time to go, and that's okay. I mean, like you say, we're not saying they're doing something nefarious. They're looking to better themselves. But nothing really shocks me. Some of those defensive linemen I thought might stay, which now Coach Gibson said, obviously he'll have to go into the portal and get some replacements up there because that's a key position. And Ralph Street does a great job of those defensive linemen as a coach. So probably have to go shopping for more defensive linemen than they thought they would have.
Sounds like there's some guys visiting campus this week. I keep seeing
I'm
those
sure
tweets.
I'm sure there's who knows how many each day, but I'm pretty sure every campus has guys checking out maybe the new digs.
My favorite story.
Where do they take them, Jim Spaghetti up to Roosters or what?
I mean, Tutors, I don't know. My favorite story about one player who will remain nameless and his school, he named his list of 4 schools he's visiting. One of them is the school that he is at right now. Like, how do you visit the school? You already know where the library is.
Going on a date with your current girlfriend?
Don't you? You know where the dining hall is, right?
Yeah.
I just thought, man, what? It's like the headline of an Onion story. I mean, I got 4 official visits, and one of them is the school that I currently attend.
Isn't there a Netflix show like Love Island where you actually are there as a couple, but you're fair to go date some of the others?
Sadly,
I haven't seen Love Island.
I think that's what it is.
I would stray far away from that show as many
It's not for you.
What night are you watching that, Joseph? I'm just curious.
I'm not. I promise.
Okay.
Sometimes we watch that Great British Baking Show, that sort of thing. Last night I was watching Beat Bobby Flay. That's an interesting.
Oh, I watched that. I enjoyed that show. The wife turned on Kids Baking Championship last night, and I'm like, I'm putting my foot down. I'm not watching kids baking.
Guys,
and she went, okay.
Whenever you're stressed and you just want to watch something and just want to do some Zen, I go to the Maine Cabin Masters.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites.
That's yours?
Yeah,
all right.
That's a good one.
I'll have to check that out.
That almost has us going to Maine this summer. We're really entertaining that idea.
I mean, it's beautiful.
If you go, let me know or bring me back a coaster from the local Irish pub there.
Leave the lobsters alone.
They're safer down here.
Yeah.
Well, Marshall has gotten a couple of transfer portal commitments, and I have 2 listed. There might be more by now or by the time that this comes out. Local guy, is that Xavier Bosley? Is that how you pronounce that? He went to South Charleston, previously at Jacksonville State and WVU, and then Jaquez Keys, who was at Ironton.
Yeah. He
was on that state championship team that got beat in 2022. So he'd have been a 23 class kid, running back. He's been at a JUCO in Northwest Mississippi Community College. So he's coming to Huntington.
I think there's a little bit maybe of this portal travel and how it works. That some of these kids who are local kids, if they're going to get a little bit of money, why not come back home and play in front of the people that, care about you and will come see you. I think there's some of that probably in every school in the country. You say, well, if I'm going to transfer, I'm going to go back and play close to home and let the people I know come and watch. So maybe that's an element of the portal that we haven't talked a whole lot about yet.
And some of these guys, if you're in the area, a lot of kids grow up wanting to play football at the Joan.
Yeah.
So.
That's Curtis's kid, correct?
I don't know if it's his or nephew. I think he's somewhat related.
They're related there.
Yeah, to play in the same uniform your dad or your uncle played in, and I'm sure that's a great motivator as well.
Then how about our guy, Mr. Kick of the Week? Originally committed to OU, decommitted last week. Cooper Heimbach.
The Heimbach maneuver.
He's going to be a herd. I guess that's what we say, a herd, a member of the herd.
Yeah,
go Herds.
Man, he was impressive this year for Wheelersburg. Every time he's like, and it's not to say that there aren't good kickers in high school, but we don't see a bunch of guys that boot him out there from 45, 50 yards in high school, and he seemingly did it every week. We should name that kick of the week after him. After
3 of them.
Yeah, he's seems tremendously talented. I haven't seen anything official about Marshall's kicker Lorcan Quinn, who obviously set a new single-season field goal record about officially going into the portal. But he's also from Ireland, so I think there's some visa things that go on with whether you can take NIL money. I don't know how the ins and outs of it all, but. If he goes, which maybe is going to happen, then that job would be open anyway. So,
well, the graphic Cooper put out also just said punter.
Okay,
it's a picture of him punting. It said punter, so maybe that's the position as he comes in. He said he was going to early enroll. That was part of his statement. So
Yeah.
he's hitting the ground running.
Well, and they got Nathan Totten, from Russell, and who was a heck of a punter this year. He's done really well for Marshall. So, you don't want to say somebody's staying or somebody's going. We have till, the 16th before the portal closes?
When it closes?
I
That feels like forever
that's
away.
That's going to be like,
My
wow.
goodness.
Coaches probably don't sleep at all.
Well, and then you still have an additional, I think, 5 days for the teams that are playing in the playoff.
Yeah.
So who's to say that somebody at Miami or Oregon or Indiana or Ole Miss hits the portal once they get beat? They have 5 days. They're coming to Huntington.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, you just don't know. It's crazy, and I don't know. The cooler, smarter people than us should try to figure that out.
I know the actual year amount, but let's just say 5 years ago, I couldn't have bought Carlos Del Rio Wilson a sandwich at your favorite restaurant.
Right.
And just like that, here's $10,000. Okay, great. I mean, it's just it went from everything being illegal and you getting, you couldn't play for a year, school gets in trouble, to, don't worry about it. I mean, it's just the landscape changed so fast, and as we can probably see, the NCAA wasn't ready for it.
Well, the eligibility rules have changed. All these people are getting 6, 7, some an 8th year, because the NCAA got scared because they got sued a couple of times. So they don't want any part of that. And it's not, to me, it's not NIL anymore. It's pay for play. Let's call it what it is. NIL was name, image, and likeness. You could go at your local dealership and do a commercial. You could have an autograph signing. You could play music for a little bit of money. That was name, image, and likeness. This is, hey, come play for my school, and we'll pay you. That's pay for play. Let's call it really what it is.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a lineman from Marshall who was a really good singer, guitar player?
Was it Will Ulmer?
And he couldn't perform at a local, like he couldn't perform down at the market.
And they probably couldn't promote him if he was there.
They couldn't promote him. He was going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's taking a 180 super fast.
It changes every day too.
Well, and it's trickled down to the high school levels now too. We'll be talking about that probably as the years go by. I at least know West Virginia's got it. Ohio just approved it within the last few months. Not sure what the story is in Kentucky, but it's trickling down.
And I've heard, everybody from Tom Izzo to football coaches who've kind of just railed on this. And what are we doing here? What are we really teaching the kids? And I continue to insist. It's not the kid's fault. I mean, somebody waving money at you. If they're waving $100,000 at you when you're 18, 19 years old, you're going to take it because you have no. Well, yeah, I'm taking it, and you without regard to how it's going to be taxed and what happens when the money dries up and. What happens if you train? You're at 3 or 4 schools and you never really get a foothold. And we put these kids in some unenviable situations. And I'm not against them at all making money for what they do. That's already out the gate. But there have to be some guardrails and some limitations to how it works.
And one Marshall player that I don't know if you want to say his name or not. You've said at least a couple of times that he's getting pressure from the family.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what just like they. You're getting pressure from agents and family members and say, well, wait a minute, you can get more here. Well, what if you just like where you are? What if you like that you're at Ohio? What if you like you're at West Virginia or Kentucky? Name the school. But that seems to be almost frowned upon because you got to go get that bag or get the money.
Well, that's when you start seeing those signing day videos of kids who they choose their team. Mom and dad wanted them to go somewhere else for whatever reason. We can only guess that maybe they liked the package there.
Yeah.
It could be something totally different, but they end up, I'm not going to go here. I'm going to go here because I'm 17 and mom has to help me sign the paper here or whatever it is, right? But that's a real thing too because of the familial pressure. You're trying to look out for not just you, your family too.
And that family pressure used to be, and all the old school coaches will say this, some have said it out loud. When I used to go into a player's home, the first thing the mom and dad ask is, are you going to take care of my kid? How about the academic side of it? How's this major? How's that major? Who's going to make sure he's eating right and all that? Now it's just about how much can he make. That's the question that the coaches get now. That's it. Starts there and ends there, which I think drove many high-profile college coaches out of the game in basketball. I mean, you think Roy Williams likes going into a place for an 18-year-old kid, says, how much you pay me? He says, dude, I got 3 national championships.
Yeah.
Jay Wright. I mean, those
playing
guys.
for me is
Tony Bennett. I'm pretty. I mean, not pretty sure, but I mean, Tony Bennett just left before the season started last year, or is it this year?
Yeah, it was last year.
And he's not an old guy.
No.
And it's not. I don't want everybody to think it's just a bunch of old coaches who are mad. I mean, coaches, and let's be honest, coaches have always been able to go wherever they want and make as many millions as they want. Look what Lane Kiffin is doing at LSU now. So it's not if I feel sorry for the coaches. I just feel sorry for the sport and the message that it sends, that being part of a team and the camaraderie and facing some adversity and battling back and ended up being a starter. I mean, those stories are great, not only for when you're in college, but when you go on to wherever you're going to work for the rest of your life. You're going to find out that bosses maybe don't like you, and you're going to have to step up and
work harder.
Yeah, work harder or go somewhere else and do it. I mean, these are all lessons that the college kids need to learn, but they don't know it until you teach it. But now we're not teaching it because it's all about going to see how much money you can make.
Even as far as just establishing or trying to establish a legacy for yourself in a particular community on a particular campus, you can only do that if you're there for an extended period of time. Even that goes for the pro game. Fans love guys that stick around.
Yeah,
That's just the case.
Yeah.
They really do, especially if you're really good.
But you hear wherever stadium you go into, and one of your revered heroes is coming back for homecoming or whatever, and the crowd goes crazy.
Yep.
I mean, they identify with those players and athletes, and if they're just one and done or just being mercenaries and going 5 different schools, you don't get that same kind of feeling. And where do they go on homecoming, and who gets into the Hall of Fame now at colleges?
I don't know how they're going to figure that out. That's a good point.
That's all.
You're looking at like one season. This guy won a conference championship, but he was here for 1 year.
He bolted, yeah.
Yeah. How does his numbers stack up against Chad Pennington's or something like that? I don't know how you do that.
What do you have, a pre-transfer portal and a post-transfer portal Hall of Fame, maybe?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's nuts.
I guess, right? All right, we're getting towards the end of the show here, but still a couple more things to talk about.
It's Joseph's saddest segment of the show.
Oh.
But I am going to talk about it, right? Ohio State gets manhandled in the first half by Miami, 14-0. They battle their way back, but really just didn't have enough time to battle back because they didn't really play up-tempo all year. They get beat in the Cotton Bowl by Miami 24-14. I'll just leave it at that. What were your all's thoughts watching that game? Did it catch you by surprise, or did you think the fatal flaws in the Indiana game are here?
In our text thread, at one point I said, "Oh my gosh, Miami is hitting so hard." I mean, they were just coming in like missiles. And of course, Ohio State has the same kind of athletes, but it just seemed Miami just had another level. Let's call it 11 in reference to Spinal Tap. They were playing at 11 from the get-go. And Ryan Day after the game said, "I don't know what happened. I mean, we planned to jump out of the gate fast all for the last 3 weeks, and we thought we did it, and all of a sudden we're down 14-0."
We often refer to the famous Mike Tyson quote, "You don't know how you're going to react until you get hit in the mouth." And they hit Ohio State in the mouth. That pick six, I thought, was the play of the game, changed the entire game. It certainly – their defensive line was good coming in. Everybody knew that. But sometimes you don't know until you line up against them. And for what Miami did and you and I talked about it, Joseph, maybe Ohio State's always been good enough to just impose their will on people and do it over the course of 4 quarters. Maybe they waited a little bit too long in this one not to – I've always said with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, you got to get those guys the ball in different places. I mean, Smith is so talented. You could bring him in for a wide receiver screen or a jet sweep, and I just didn't think they got those guys the ball enough because they are the best players on the field, no matter who they're playing. But I think maybe Ohio State always, kind of able to rely on just pounding it and getting back in it and playing Ohio State football, and it just didn't materialize for them.
And even at 17-14, I was watching it from home. I'm like, you still had the feeling that Miami was going to do enough to win, and then they tacked on that last touchdown really late. But I mean, just had the feeling that Miami had their number that night from the get-go.
It took Ohio State 5-6 minutes, sometimes 7 minutes to score. Their last offensive possession, not the very last one, but the last one where it was 17-14 and you thought maybe they're going to go down in the field and win the game, they gained a total of 6 yards and took 4.5 minutes off the clock. Like, when you're getting beat, you can't afford to do that.
Yeah, and credit to Miami because they thought coming in that they could try to rattle Julian Sayin, and they did. He's a freshman. We always forgot that because, the kid was a Heisman finalist. He was great all year long. He's still a freshman. And once they got him a little off his spot, I think that kind of changed the tone. And, you made the great analogy earlier about bringing out your driver when you haven't hit it all year. And Ohio State had to go, faster than they wanted in a more rapid pace, and they really weren't used to it because let's face it, they're not behind very often.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. Like, Jimmy, if you hadn't picked up your driver in 3 months, you think you're going to stripe one down the fairway? Well, maybe you would.
Let's put it this way. If we're at Sugarwood and it's our first round of the year and I get my driver out, the first shot might not clear the tracks.
It might come back to him.
But that doesn't mean you're incapable. It just means you haven't hit it.
Might end up in 9 fairway or 2 fairway.
Yep. Yeah. But he's right. You got to get used to playing that style. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know more about football than Ryan Day because obviously he's been ultra successful. But I thought Miami slapped him, and they were just a little slow in responding.
Well, I thought just the dominance of the Miami defensive line was one thing, but also the fact that Ohio State wasn't going up tempo. You're snapping the ball with under 5 seconds on the play clock. It felt like they were jumping every single snap. Mm-hmm. They were in the backfield as soon as the ball was snapped. Well, when there's 3 or 4 seconds left on the play clock, we know you're about to snap it, right? And you're already coming downhill anyways. That makes Julian Sand jittery. I think his youth showed a little bit. He was great all year, but you got Reuben Bain barreling down on you. It's hard to see the wide open tight end down the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's especially when you've already been hit 2 or 3 times. So.
And how much fun is Ole Miss Miami going to be on Thursday?
Oh my!
I was looking at the schedule and I was seeing where it was, and I said, man, if that game was in Atlanta, and I'm off Thursday, and I'm like, oh boy, I would entertain going to that just to because Miami. I told one of our Charlie downstairs in the newsroom last weekend. I says, I love college football, but it's a little more interesting when Miami's good. Kind of like you can say that about a lot of college basketball teams. When Kentucky's good, it's just a little bit more interesting, and it's good to see the Canes back, and that's going to be a fun semifinal.
I know our good buddy Alex Jackson feels the same.
Well,
the Canes are good.
Yeah,
things are good.
I mean, look at those 4 teams that are in it, and no disrespect to Ohio State or Georgia, Alabama, Clemson there for a few years. It just seemed like it was just a photocopy of the year before, and these are 4 different teams. Miami, has won some national titles, but it's been a while. And Ole Miss and Indiana. I mean, I was talking to Rob Johnson the other day. He goes, man, I'm still in a funk. I said, you better just ride the wave, man. Just enjoy it because what they're doing is something special. And to have those 4 teams in, I think if you want to validate the portal and NIL or pay for play, this has leveled the playing field a little bit against some of those teams in the SEC that have had the advantages because they're the SEC, the Titans of college football. But anymore, I'm not sure you can say that. Everybody's got money, or a lot of schools have money, and they're going out to get the players they need.
In the later stages of the 4-team field, for about 3 or 4 years, you could pretty accurately predict who was going to be in the national championship game.
Yeah.
Any combination of Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and I know LSU was in there for a year. But it was like, I'm going to throw out these 3 or 4 names, and 2 of them are going to play for it all. You can't really say that this year.
No,
you can't really say that period anymore.
And I like the fact they went on campus. That makes it more like a college atmosphere. I mean, no offense to the places they go, the big giant domes that they play in seemingly every year. The game has changed, and I think everybody's kind of catching up a little bit. And Curt Cignetti's been obviously the coach of the year. I mean, what he's done over there is phenomenal. And he does it with a little bit of a bravado about him that people aren't used to. And it's like, wait a minute, this guy can't be that good. They're going to beat them. They're going to beat them. And they just keep doing it.
Yeah. That's what has amazed me about Indiana. You would think Indiana doing what they've done, winning the Big Ten, beating Alabama like a drum, you would think they would be out there celebrating that like it's their Super Bowl. Because make no mistake about it, that was the biggest win in school history last week.
Yep.
It was.
Yep.
They act like they'd been there before, and they haven't. And that's really hard to get a group of guys who may not have come to Indiana thinking that they were going to win a national championship, but here they are in a position to, and it's just like any other day. We're going to work. It's business. It truly is for those guys.
And you see them after they make a play. I mean, nobody's over there celebrating. They go right back, lined up, getting ready for the next play. And that's coaching. That's Coach Cignetti saying, hey, we're not doing any of this nonsense. Let's get over here and get back for the next play and be ready in case they do something we're not used to. So I commend him for what he's done there. I think it's great to see a program that was maybe the losingest team in college football over the history.
Were they really?
Yeah, I think they're close.
Believe it. Yeah.
They've lost. I mean, they were horrible forever. And
to do this in 2 years?
Yeah, it shows you that the template's out there if you get the right coach and you find the right players and put them in the right spots.
I told Rob Johnson after they beat Alabama, I said, dude, you need to, if they get to the title game, you've got to get to Miami. He's like, I already have those 2 days off. Just a matter of getting down.
You got to pay for the tickets.
That's okay. You know what though? If you're an Indiana fan as much as he is, I think he'll pay any, not any amount, but he would certainly fork over some dollar bills to see them maybe win a national title.
Not to compare the Reds to Indiana football, but that's how I would feel if the Reds were in the World Series, because that's something that I've never mentally accounted for. Like, that's a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel that way. But if it were to happen, you got to get to at least one of those games, right?
Because you don't know when it's going to happen again.
If ever.
That's what I say about this Lane Kiffin thing. I mean, LSU might not, while he's there, they may not ever reach where Ole Miss is right now. And you're giving that up?
He's banking on we're going to have plenty of teams that are better than this Ole Miss team, but you just don't know,
well,
like you said.
I hate to say the old bird in the hand's worth two in the bush, but they got Ole Miss is there. I mean, and they're doing it with that Golding, the acting head coach now, the head coach. Yeah. He's just he's a good old boy football guy, and he's enjoying the run, and his players love him, and they've moved on from Lane Kiffin.
And keep an eye out, Jaden Yates is on Ole Miss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Max's kid.
Yeah, he was playing earlier in the year. I didn't see him the other night.
I kept looking for him. I saw a kid who was number 25, thinking that was him because had looked the same size, kind of body build, and that fantastic hair he had. And I'm like, and I looked at him up, and nice, that's not him. He's number 30. But that'd be a nice move for him for sure to go from Marshall to Ole Miss.
If you're Lane Kiffin, do you want to see this team win? Because selfishly, you would kind of want to think, oh, they can't do it without me.
Oh, yeah, because
at the same time, those are your guys.
He's getting paid.
Are there incentives based in for him?
Well, LSU's paying him.
Yeah, because
that's right.
Remember this?
LSU's
$500,000 for each game.
Oh, my.
Which is even more absurd. But
I feel like ego-wise, you're almost like, man, they better not do it without me.
Yeah.
But those are the guys that you recruited, brought in from the portal. Like, that is your team.
That's the argument on the coaches he wanted to bring over to Baton Rouge. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I'll bring them over because if they went over there without me, then it really wasn't me. I mean,
right. That's what I mean.
Listen,
perception, the ego.
The drama is there. Everywhere he goes, there's drama.
Oh,
so
goodness gracious.
I just, in Oxford, they've just got to be. If Indiana or Ole Miss wins it, I think you'll see some celebrations like you haven't seen in a long time.
Well, one other coaching change we need to talk about at the local level. People around here are certainly familiar with Mike Bartram, Marshall guy. I think did he have a couple sons, or at least one that played at Spring Valley?
Ty
Bartram,
who's now in the portal.
Now in the portal. Was at Harvard.
He was at Harvard for 4 years.
So he's in the portal right now?
He was the captain of. I saw he had it on Twitter today. He's the captain of the 151st Harvard football team.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's. I remember when time flies. I talked to Mike during Ty's freshman year. He's like, "Yeah, it's freshman year. You're getting there. You're just kind of struggling to get by, and boom, 4 years later, captain." Had a solid career. I think he played in 30-plus games at Harvard.
Oh, by the way, he went to Harvard.
Yeah. And you walk out of there with one of those degrees.
Yeah, that's worth it.
It's hard to come by.
So, Mike's a great guy, unbelievable character guy. Obviously, close to home. He's from Meigs County. Was a quarterback in high school, and then he was an incredible tight end at Marshall, Hall of Famer, and helped them to their first Division I AA national championship in '92, and went on with the Eagles. Was one of the great long snappers anywhere, and has been around since then. He's been with the Eagles. He's been on Marshall's staff, and now he goes to Rio Grande, and he's got a big project up there, but he'll embrace it with those giant long snapping hands he has. You shake his hand, he's like, golly, no wonder the dude could long snap.
With Mike, though, when you see him, you're getting a hug first.
Yeah.
If you put your hand out, he's like, no, come on, man. But he loves that community. Years ago, when he was still in the NFL, he'd opened a Christian school just because, I want to help these kids be successful in life. And he was saying this stuff, in the late 90s when he was a solid pro in the NFL. And if you ever want to YouTube Mike, remember that feature?
Oh my gosh, a reporter from Philadelphia did. It was unbelievable.
He was snapping into a moving taxi cab
as it drove by.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And that's just one of the things he had
into a drive-through,
awesome.
Into a mailbox. It's phenomenal.
We need to get him in this studio, see if he can do that for us. We'll put
up. I guarantee he could do it.
That'd be great.
He could snap one down the hallway without hitting anybody.
Yeah. What a hire for Rio Grande, though, to have a local guy with that kind of resume attached to his name,
and that kind of
recognizable name that kids would want to play for,
and
I think
that kind
that's
of
big.
Passion for the community, because he's not going anywhere. He wants to see it succeed, And year one was this year, like you said, 0-9. But
new program. I mean, he's the guy you want to anchor that and to go get some kids, and he cares about kids. It's not some stop on his resume.
I can't say I ever saw Rio Grande football's return coming.
Yeah.
Now Shawnee State's about to get going too.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see more opportunities pop up for some of our local kids, because let's be honest, it's I think a lot of times really difficult for kids in this area to get recruited for whatever reason, perception-wise.
Well, that's what the
whatever.
NIL has done. It's coaches want to find someone who's played a couple years already. This is not just football; it's every sport. So if you're you have to be a really, 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 really good high school player to get a scholarship in D1, like Tavion Wilson. Maybe 5 years ago, when there's 6 or 7 Tavion Wilsons in our area, all might sign D1 somewhere, but they'd rather try to find someone who's already has experience, though. So these kids got to go the small route, make a name for themselves, and hopefully
try to move up
that direction.
But yeah, the number of high school players recruited is dropped off precipitously, and like Jimmy said, it's coaches want to win now. So I'm going to go get a guy who's more mature physically, more mature numerically. He's 20 now, and I don't have to work on a project who's 18 years old. It's sad. I mean, because that just happened in the last 5 years. That's a relatively new phenomenon.
Sinai used to be 8, 9, 10 kids
from
our area, and now it's sometimes that actually, that God bless the preferred walk-ons, but the ones that actually, get a full ride and all that fun stuff is, they're less than 5.
It's dropped off a lot.
Speaking of preferred walk-ons, just this week, kid from Northwest, Jackson Powell, committed to Ohio State to play football.
That's impressive.
Big. And also, I don't know if we mentioned it on here or not, but Ryan Simons at Jackson also preferred walk-on at OSU. So love to kind of root for the Rudy stories there sometimes.
Man. Those guys get to go over there and go to Columbus and come back, and man, they're heroes in those towns for sure that love their football.
If you can just put the silver helmet on, man, and see your name on the back of the jersey,
that's
probably enough. Yeah. But I know those guys want to work their way onto not just a scholarship, but onto the field too.
And then have those stories the rest of your life to tell. That's part of it.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? We got through a lot. I don't know how long we've gone. This is probably about an hour's worth.
Almost 50 minutes.
Almost 50 minutes? You got a timer going over there?
Nah, I just looked at my watch when we started.
Well, we need to start doing this as far as a 3-man crew up here now that we can.
You think that's what the viewing public would like, or just say that's too many? It's too many.
We'll have management pull the numbers of this show.
Pull the numbers.
As long as we promote it
Plus,
correctly.
we didn't even have any popcorn. I'm a little disappointed with that.
I didn't even introduce you guys, but I figured you were household names. I didn't say this is Keith, this is Jimmy. I just figured people recognize the voices and would know that what we're talking about.
Well, we appreciate you doing this. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Talking sports, and nobody in our ear saying, wrap it up.
Right.
Hey, wrap, go, stop.
And as much as I love football, Keith will tell I love basketball just a little bit more, and because there's always something going on tonight. Like there's always.
You're on the high school basketball circuit these days.
No, the only game there's not a high school game, it seems to be, until March is Sunday. So that makes it a lot of fun, and of course it's indoors and warm instead of rainy and yucky this time of year.
Yeah, you don't have to look at the forecast for basketball season unless we're talking about school cancellations, which cancels games. But
sometimes they still play. Just if they can get to the gym and it's not super bad, let's tip it up.
Yep. All right, guys. Well,
all right, fellas.
I'll let you get out of here. I'm going to cut your mics, and I'm going to take this show home. So appreciate it. Thank you. This has been WSAZ Sports Plus with Keith Morehouse and Jimmy Tracy. All right, everyone. This has been WSAZ Sports Plus, first one of 2026. Hopefully we get all 3 of us in here for the majority of these, at least, maybe through basketball season. Into the spring, we start talking softball and baseball and whatever the heck else is going on. Remember that we stream this program on Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. So if you watch the stream, thank you. Appreciate you finding us. You can always find the episodes after the fact on WSAZ.com, on the WSAZ app, on YouTube as well, and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Got some guests coming in this week as well. Don't want to spoil that, but you're going to want to tune in on Friday at 9 o'clock. Going to have some herd hoops to talk about. It's going to be fun. So with that said, we'll see you Friday at 9. This has been WSAZ Sports Plus. Thanks for watching.